The world is currently obsessed with the latest headlines about ceasefires, diplomatic breakthroughs, and the supposed return of stability to the global order. If you are one of those people waiting for the mainstream media, the talking heads on CNN or the teleprompter readers at Fox to tell you when peace has arrived, you have already lost the game. You are looking at the surface of the water, watching the gentle ripples of public relations, while completely ignoring the 16 black shadows lurking beneath the waves. Those shadows don't care about press releases. They don't care about hope. They care about displacement, tonnage, and the cold, hard physics of a torpedo hitting a hull. We are not here to talk about the scripted nonsense you see on cable news. We are not here to indulge in the everything is fine narrative. We are here to perform an autopsy on the American empire. It is a cold, clinical procedure. It is a biopsy of a dying superpower. No anesthesia is required because the patient is already numb from its own arrogance, numb from its own decadence, and numb from a decade of believing its own propaganda. So let us start with what actually happened in the Strait of Hormuz on Saturday, April 18th. The media calls it an incident. I call it a total systemic collapse of deterrence. Iranian forces opened fire with live ammunition on 2 vessels. This wasn't a warning shot into the air. This wasn't a flare. This was lead and steel directed at the bridge and the engine rooms. One of those ships was American, but here is the twist that the Pentagon does not want to explain to you, the detail they are trying to bury under layers of classification. That American ship was reportedly flying an Indian flag. Think about that for a second. Let it sink in. The most powerful navy in the history of the world was reduced to playing dress up. It was a ghost ship strategy, a desperate, pathetic attempt to sneak through the most important choke point on the planet by wearing a costume. It is the maritime equivalent of a king hiding in a peasant's cart to avoid being lynched. It did not work. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, saw through the mask immediately. They didn't need sophisticated AI to figure it out. They just looked at the signature, the acoustic fingerprint, and the behavior. They issued a 15-minute ultimatum. Turn around or face the consequences. And what did the pride of the United States Navy do? Did they stand their ground? Did they assert the freedom of navigation they always talk about in their white papers? No. They turned around, they fled. This is the reality of the geopolitical chessboard today. The superpower is no longer super. It is a giant with clay feet trying to hide its identity. It is an empire that has lost its nerve. When you stop defending your flag, you stop being the power. When you start hiding your flag, you are already a ghost. The Iranian parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, did not even try to hide the satisfaction in his voice. When he addressed the cameras, he confirmed the live fire. He confirmed the retreat. It was a warning shot, but the message was louder than the explosion. The message was simple. We own the water. You are just a guest who has overstayed his welcome. The message is that the Strait of Hormuz is now a closed room, and Iran holds the only key. Reuters finally confirmed the story a day later, citing 3 maritime security sources. They had to admit it. They couldn't hide the smoke forever. They had to admit that 2 vessels were targeted by gunfire after they believed the empty promises from Washington. They found out the hard way that the exchange ratio has changed. You can believe the rhetoric coming out of the State Department, or you can believe the lead hitting the hulls of ships. One is a fairy tale, the other is physics. And in this theater, physics always wins. Always. Now let us look at the man in the Oval Office. Donald Trump is back to his usual routine of barking behind a fence. He recently gave an interview to Fox News where he looked like a man who has run out of moves. He called it the last chance for the Iranians. How many last chances have we seen in the past few weeks? It is the same repetitive script. It is the power of 3 used poorly. Threaten, bluster, fail, lather, rinse, repeat. He threatened to blow the entire country into the air if they do not sign his deal. Think about the implications of that statement. to blow a country as large, as mountainous, and as sophisticated as Iran into the air, you are not talking about conventional tactics. You are not talking about Tomahawk missiles or B-2 bombers. You are talking about the nuclear option. You are talking about a scorched earth policy that would end civilization as we know it. You are talking about turning the cradle of civilization into a glass floor. And there they were on the screen, 4 suits laughing over coffee while a leader insinuates the use of atomic weapons. It is a theater of the absurd. It is a mad, mutually assured destruction, rebooted for the TikTok era. The world is watching a desperate gambler betting his last chip on a bluff. They aren't scared of the bark because they know the teeth are rotten. Trump says the deal is simple. He says Tehran just needs to agree to his terms. But why would they? Seriously, why would a country that just chased your Navy out of a strait, a country that is currently exporting millions of barrels of oil to China, agree to terms? The professional diplomats, the guys who actually know the history of the Safavids and the nuances of Persian negotiation, have been sidelined. They've been replaced by the A-team of amateur hour. In their place, Trump is sending his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his real estate friend, Steve Witkoff. They are heading to Islamabad in the next few hours. This is the peak of the arrogance. You are dealing with one of the most complex geopolitical matrices in human history, and you send a luxury real estate developer to fix it. It is not diplomacy. It is a family business trying to secure its own interests while the empire burns. They aren't looking for a peace treaty. They are looking for a closing statement. They're trying to flip a war like it's a condo in Midtown. Trump is accusing Tehran of violating a truce. What truce? Let's be real for a second. There is no truce. For a truce to exist, there must be a cessation of hostilities that includes Lebanon, Syria, and the maritime routes. Pakistan confirmed this. As a mediator, they told the truth. They said the deal was dead on arrival because the other side never stopped shooting. But Israel, being Israel, did not stop. They increased their attacks. They ignored the lines on the map. They treated the ceasefire as a tactical window to reload and re-index their targets. So when Trump talks about a truce, he is talking about a fantasy. He is talking about a hallucination. He is trying to maintain control over Iranian ports while the Iranians have already locked the front door, bolted the windows, and set up a machine gun nest on the porch. He says it will happen one way or another, by hook or by crook. He told ABC News to quote him on that. Well, we are quoting him, and we are also noting that his words have never been more hollow. They are like a drum, loud but full of air. If you could do it by the crook, you would have done it. The truth is that you cannot, you're desperate, and the desperation is starting to smell. It smells like jet fuel and salt water. It smells like the end of an era. The problem for Washington is no longer just the Strait of Hormuz. The pincer is closing. It is a strategic encirclement that the Pentagon's war games never accounted for. Iran is coordinating with Yemen. The Houthis, those ragtag rebels the media loves to mock, have issued a direct warning that neither humans nor genies will be able to reopen the Bab el-Mandeb. That is the southern gate to the Red Sea. That is the artery. If that door slams shut, the global economy does not just slow down. It does not just go into a recession. It stops. It has a heart attack. The insurance premiums for shipping will go through the roof, literally overnight. The cost of moving a container from Shanghai to Rotterdam will quadruple. The flow of energy to the west will vanish. You think inflation is bad now? Wait until the Red Sea becomes a no-go zone for anything without a Russian or Chinese flag. The Houthi deputy foreign minister, Hussein al-Ali, was very clear. He wasn't stuttering. He told Trump to stop the policies that obstruct peace. He told him to stop the maritime bullying. If not, the gate closes. And once it is closed, it stays closed. This isn't a threat. from a minor player. This is a statement of fact from the people who have already proven they can hit a moving ship. With a drone made of fiberglass and lawnmower parts, this would be the third and most humiliating retreat in American history. Let's count them. First it was Vietnam, the jungle, then it was Afghanistan, the mountains. Now it is the entire Middle East, the water. The American military is not being defeated by a superior army. It is being bled white by 1,000 small cuts. It is being bankrupted by the sheer cost of its own technological superiority. The Wall Street Journal finally admitted what we told you. They finally caught up to the reality we've been tracking. They reported that Trump screamed at his advisors for hours after an American fighter jet was downed in Iran. At the time, the Pentagon denied everything. They issued those sterile, robotic press releases. They said no jets were lost. They said if a plane crashed, it was a technical failure. They said the pilots were on leave. We knew better. We told you the truth. While the mainstream media was still printing the press releases from the Department of Defense, we saw the signal, we heard the silence. Now, 3 weeks late, the journal confirms the loss of the jet and the disappearance of 2 pilots on enemy soil. This is the same pattern we saw with the Eisenhower aircraft carrier. Remember that they denied it was hit. They posted old videos of the deck to prove it was fine. It took years for them to admit the damage the Houthis inflicted. It took years for the truth to leak out of the hole. The arrogance of the system is its greatest weakness. They believe that if they do not report a loss, the loss did not happen. They believe that perception is reality. But the families of those pilots know the truth. The Iranian radar operators know the truth. The guys sitting in the signals intelligence booths in Moscow know the truth. You can lie to the voters, but you can't lie to the radar. Trump's biggest fear is a repeat of 1979. He is haunted by the ghost of Jimmy Carter. He remembers the images of the hostage crisis, the blindfolds, the yellow ribbons. He knows that 66 diplomats in cages cost Carter the presidency. Everything he does now is viewed through the lens of the next election. He isn't worried about the pilots. He's worried about the polling. There are even darker suggestions coming from Chinese and Iranian sources. They suggest that during the failed rescue operation, the command may have bombarded its own troops. It sounds cruel. It sounds impossible. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. But in the cold, clinical logic of the geopolitical surgeon, a dead soldier is a tragedy. While a live prisoner is a political catastrophe, a dead pilot can be buried with a flag in a silent ceremony. A live pilot on Iranian television, forced to confess to imperialist aggression, is a campaign-ending event. Trump wanted no hostages. He wanted the problem to disappear, even if it meant erasing the people involved. He wanted to delete the failure. Whether that specific horrific detail is true or not, the subtext is clear. The priority is not the lives of the men in uniform. The priority is the optics. The priority is the brand. The priority is the win, even if that win is just a well-managed lie. While the United States is busy trying to save face, China is busy saving the future. They are playing a different game. They aren't playing risk, they are playing go. 80% of the oil flowing out of Iran is going to China. This is why Trump has not attacked the Card Island. He wants to, believe me, he wants to. Israel wants him to. The hawks in the basement of the Pentagon are screaming for it. But he knows that if he hits that oil, he is hitting China's gas tank. He is hitting the engine of the world's second largest economy, and he is not ready for that fight. He knows that a conflict with Beijing would be the final nail in the coffin of the American century. You can't fight a war with a country that makes your antibiotics and microchips. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, was very precise this week. He is a man who weighs his words like gold. He said the opening of the strait was not a permanent gesture. It was a conditional concession. It was a test. If the naval blockade against Iran continues, if the maximum pressure campaign doesn't end, the strait closes again. Yesterday, They proved they were not joking. They fired. They watched the Americans run. They watched the Indian flag flutter in the wake of a retreating ghost ship. And then they smiled for the cameras. They showed the world that the red line is now a green light for their own sovereignty. And the exchange ratio is the only math that matters. It is the physics of the fall. An F-35 costs $100 million. That's just the sticker price. Add in the maintenance, the pilot training, and the fuel, and it's a $250 million asset. A Shahed drone costs $20,000. It's made of parts you can buy on Alibaba. A missile to intercept that drone costs $2 million. You do not need to be a math genius to see how this ends. You don't need a PhD in economics. You are spending millions to destroy thousands. You are exhausting your stockpile of high-tech toys while the enemy is mass-producing industrial trash that works. You are using a silver bullet to kill a mosquito. Eventually, you run out of silver. The mosquito just keeps breeding. And this is how empires go bankrupt. They spend themselves into oblivion, trying to maintain a status quo. They build aircraft carriers that are nothing more than floating targets for hypersonic missiles. They build stealth jets that can be seen by low-frequency radar designed in the 1970s. The petrodollar is on life support, and the doctors are all speaking Mandarin. And they are just waiting for the heart to stop so they can divide the inheritance. Look at what is happening in South America to see the same pattern of betrayal and decay. It's not just the Middle East. The pincer is global. Delcy Rodriguez in Venezuela has effectively turned her back on the ideals of the revolution. She is playing a dangerous game with the CIA and the IMF. Within a week of the latest crisis, she was receiving the director of the CIA in Caracas. Think about the irony. The anti-imperialist hero posting the architect of regime change. She was sending gold to Washington. She was opening the taps for American oil companies like Chevron. It is a total surrender disguised as pragmatism. It is the biopsy of a revolution that has sold its soul for a seat at the table. The Americans are lifting sanctions on her personally so she can travel. They're moving the embassy back. They have found their new proxy. They realized they could not destroy the system from the outside, so they bought someone on the inside. They didn't need a coup. They just needed a wire transfer. And this is the rogue analyst perspective. We see the patterns. We see the same play being run in Caracas. But the Iranians are not the Venezuelans. They have a different history. They have a different stomach for the fight. They have a theological commitment that doesn't care about debt restructuring. The people of Venezuela have been sold out for the sake of a few lifted sanctions that will only benefit the elite in Miraflores. The IMF is coming back. They want a perpetual debt that ensures the oil belongs to the banks, not the people. They want to turn the nation into a giant gas station for the West. It is a hostile takeover on a global scale. And while the media focuses on the drama of the personalities, the tweets, the insults, the handshakes, the money is moving in the shadows. The gold is being moved in unmarked planes. The contracts are being signed in windowless rooms. The blueprint is being executed, and most people are too busy to notice. Trump thinks he is playing a game of Risk, but he has no pieces left on the board. He is yelling at the dice because they won't give him the numbers. He is surrounded by sycophants, the Kushners and the Witkoffs, who are already looking for the exit. They are looking for the next real estate play in a post-American world. Negotiations in Islamabad will yield nothing. Mark my words. You cannot fix a systemic collapse with a real estate deal. You cannot threaten a civilization that has existed for thousands of years. They can wait you out. They have been waiting for 2,000 years. What's another 4? The world is moving toward a Pax Sinica. It is moving toward a reality where the decisions are made in Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran. The West is becoming a gated community that can no longer afford the security guards. It is becoming a museum of its own past achievements. You can listen to the optimistic headlines about a new era of peace. You can believe the paradigm shift being sold. Or you can look at the price of gas at the station down the street. You can look at your shrinking bank account and realize that you are the one paying. The 16 shadows under the water are still there. They haven't moved. They are waiting for the next ship to try its luck with a fake flag. They are waiting for the next empire to realize it is out of time. They are the silent witnesses to the end of an era. The death of an empire is rarely a single cinematic explosion. It's not like the movies. It is a long, slow bleed. It is a series of humiliations in distant straits. It is the sound of a jet falling from the sky and the silence of a government that refuses to admit it. It is the Chalva, Muiz, Trum, Tai. We are living through the final chapter of a very old book. The pages are yellowed, the spine is cracked, and the ink is fading. The new book is already being written, and it is not being written in English. It is being written in the languages of the people who were once told they were irrelevant. Do not wait for the official announcement. There will be no mission accomplished banner this time. The announcement was made the moment that American ship turned its back. The era of the undisputed superpower ended at that precise moment of retreat. Everything else is just noise. Everything else is just a distraction. The geopolitical surgeon has finished the operation. The patient did not survive the transition. The empire is dead. Long live the matrix. Keep your eyes on the numbers. Keep your eyes on the flow of energy. Ignore the screams from the Oval Office. They are the sounds of a man who knows he is lost but cannot admit it. History does not care about your feelings. It does not care about your flag. It only cares about who has the leverage and who has the will to use it right now. That leverage is not in Washington. It has migrated. It has moved east. Following the sun, the pincer is closed, the gate is locked, and the genies are not coming back into the bottle. The reality is harsh, it is cold, and it is unforgiving, but it is the only thing that is true. Everything else is just a commercial. We will continue to watch The Matrix. We will continue to connect the dots that the media wants to keep separate, because the truth is not in the headlines. It is in the drip feed of information that they accidentally let slip. It is in the exchange ratio and the shadows. Thank you for joining this transmission. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and above all, stay awake. The world is changing faster than your newsfeed can update. The burn shake high for the new world is already being implemented. The next few weeks in Islamabad and the Red Sea will determine the next 50 years. Do not be distracted by the puppets. Do not be fooled by the visual hook of a handshake. Watch the hands that are pulling the strings. Watch the money. The American dream is being liquidated to pay off the debts of a failed foreign policy, and we are all standing in line to see what is left. It is a cold morning in the empire, and the sun is not coming up. The Sazli has been sprung. But for those who can see the board, there is clarity. There is the power of knowing exactly where we stand. And where we stand is at the end of an era. We are the observers of the collapse. The 16 shadows are still there. They are the only truth left in a world of lies. Watch them, because they are the ones writing the next chapter. They are the ones who will decide who gets to sail and who gets to sink. The game is over. The new game has already begun. And the rules are being written in the Strait of Hormuz, in the mountains of Yemen, and in the boardrooms of Beijing. The fire was real. The retreat was real. The collapse is real. Everything else is just television. Everything else is just a distraction to keep you from realizing that you are on a ship with a fake flag. We will be here to document the fall, one notice at a time, one truth at a time, until there is nothing left to say but truth. The geopolitical surgeon is stepping away from the table. The autopsy is complete. The cause of death was arrogance, combined with a total inability to understand the Tilitrado Denadoins. The world moves on with or without the superpower, and mostly without. It is a man-Jerichim that has reached its final act. The winter is going to be long, and the lights are starting to flicker, but at least now you know why. At least now you can see the matrix, a cage that is finally breaking open. The 16 shadows are waiting, and so are we. Until the next transmission, watch the water, watch the gold, and watch the men who think they are in charge. They are the last ones to know that the empire is already gone. But, you know, the truth is a weapon. Use it wisely, and do not let them tell you that the fire was just an accident. It was a signature. It was a period at the end of a very long sentence, the end of the Sturringe Torf. And the reality of the Ban 4 is that the king has no moves left. The Di Ingjaun has become a Saint Daddy. The Saint Chilamajad is internal. The Hetalajad will be felt for generations. This is the Tamelea that was predicted. The SUP Dapi that was ignored, and the Kuva that finally woke the world up. Stay vigilant. The Mataran teen is shifting. The Duke Vente is from the Tinium Half in the deep to the Tilelamfam in your grocery store. It is all connected. It is all part of the Bantitke. We are the rogue analysts. We are the ones who see the Vodun in the high-tech and the SCC Manda in the industrial trash. We are the ones who know that the Tejian art bead. Farewell for now. The H.A. Bothwell of the empire is shallow. The NHR Pediad of the fall is accelerating. The Kianturk of the new order is rising from the Dongdopt. Natquatch, the shadows, they are moving. The final Tongbao is this Donbai has shifted. The Kitban has changed. The sự thật is out. And the sự thật is that the cái chết của một đế chế is not a tragedy for the world. It is just a change in management, a hostile takeover by reality itself. Vì bác sĩ phẫu thuật địa chính trị is out. The phòng mổ is stuck. The Krakwaka is final. The Tijimu is here, and it doesn't care if you're ready or not. It only cares if you can pay the Chaprasis and Bauhis. Watch the 16 Bon Blang. They are the new masters of the Adia-Os. Adia. And the Het is final. The Het is the only thing left. The motto remains. Sự thật này không nằm ở tiêu đề, nó nằm ở dòng tiền. Sát chết. And right now, the money is flowing east, and the corpses are being buried in the sand of a failed policy. The Siabadi has closed. The Sutrinks Tas Dun is your only shield. Use it. This is the end of the script, the end of the era, the end of the lie. The characters have been counted. The truth has been told. The Fatut is over. We are done.